Adam Bishop! But look at the speed from Bishop. Drives back and picks that anchor up, and he is away down the court. And the foot speed is ridiculous, Bill Kazmaier.
Tremendous endurance, muscular power.
The crowd ignites as Bishop crosses the line. Adam Bishop.
I'd watched World's Strongest Man as a kid, all the way through. I think my first one I watched was Magnus Samuelsson winning it in 1998. In my last year of uni, I got the opportunity to go and do some strongman training. And I wanted a chance to have a go at it. Kind of took to it like a duck to water. I've always been competitive, everything. I don't like being bad at something, and if I am bad at something, I'll try and get better as fast as possible. I was kind of bitten by the bug straight away. Entered my first competition that year, so it was 2011. I won Midland's Strongest Man, and then won the UK Strongest Man as well, under 105 kilo class. When I watched it originally, I thought it was really cool, and I wanted to have a go at it. I could see myself. I became fascinated with strength. I didn't go out there thinking, right, I'm going to be a world's strongest man. It was more of a case of, I'd love to do this someday, and it wouldn't be cool to be the strongest man on the planet. It wasn't until still in my first year competing, I set the goal of competing at world's strongest man within 5 years, which I managed to do competing with my first worlds in 2015. So I gave myself 4 years to get to world's strongest man, and it was always in the back of my mind, and I just focused on obviously doing what I needed to get there, but not rushing. 2012 I won UK Strongest Junior, and then 2014 I had my big break. UK Strongest Man that year I got second behind Eddie Hall, and a Luke Stoltman in third as well. So you can see we've been competing together a long time. And after that second place, I got a call from Colin Bryce inviting me to go and do a Giants Live. I was really tired. I had a full year competing. I'd finished the UKs, and it was kind of start of September time, and I just wanted to look forward to an off season. And he was inviting me to a Giants Live at the start of November in Sweden. Initially I was kind of like, I started on the call like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to start training again. And then I kind of heard myself saying it. I was like, of course I'm gonna take this opportunity to go and compete internationally at Giants Live. And yeah, thank God I did, because these chances don't come around often. You get the call to compete at one of these shows, and you need to be ready to go. And competed out at Sweden and had a stellar first international competition. And to get 4th place, and then Bryce tell me, you'll be getting an invite to World's Strongest Man in April, was unbelievable. If you can't visualise yourself achieving your goals, then you'll never achieve your goals. Everything starts in the mind. If you have to believe truly in your heart that you will achieve what you want to do. When I'm using imagery in my mind, I'll actually see myself there competing or achieving my goal, but I'll also focus on that feeling of how will it feel to achieve my goal, and that creates a pretty strong bond. If people want to achieve their goals, whatever it may be, if it's a sporting goal or whatever, then the first step is believing in themselves and imagining themselves achieving their goal. You might have the ultimate goal, but you have to break them down into shorter, more achievable goals, short term. Otherwise, you'll always be fantasizing about the end goal and not actually focus on climbing the ladder to get to that goal. If you just dream about reaching the stars but don't focus on building the rocket ship, then you're never going to get there. My first obviously goal was to compete at World's Strongest Man in 2015, And you know, I got there and it was like crazy, you know. I was in this amazing group. I was like a fish out of water in my first year. And that's when, as soon as that finished, I was like, right, that goal's done. Now I've got to win this competition. That's the next goal. I had that goal of being world's strongest man, but I couldn't really place myself there for a long, long time. You know, I suffered from confidence issues, in all honesty, some anxiety at certain competitions. You know, sometimes, especially at Europe's Strongest Man one time, I just didn't want to be there. I just got so nervous. It wasn't until the World Tour final in 2018 that I actually started to believe in myself, you know, and that competition was a big breakthrough competition for me. You know, I got my first podium at an international show, and you know, Kieliszkowski was first, Martins Lisses was second, and it was me. And I beat a huge stage, including kind of Big Z, Iron Bibi, all these guys, Janashia. Came third in that show. And the most annoying thing in my brain happened, but obviously I was there. The points are really close, and we're going in, and I'm in third place, going into the stones. And in my head, I'm thinking, right, don't fuck this up, okay? Make sure you get the podium. In reality, what I should have been thinking was, right, go out there and attack and get this first place and try and go for the win. And afterwards, you know, after I got obviously I was really happy with getting that first podium. And I was like, man, I'm on the edge here of winning shows, you know? I need to now, that was the first time I could actually see myself and picture myself on the top of the podiums, both at kind of World's Strongest Man, Britain's Strongest Man, you know, Europe's, etc. That's when I could start actually seeing myself achieving it. It was after that kind of moment there of going, okay, you've done all this now, and now you can be on full attack mode. So in my head, I've seen myself on top of that podium, and you know, I've seen holding that massive trophy, etc., and everyone kind of looking at you and stuff. And I've seen that in my mind, and it's just kind of now climbing the ladder to actually achieve that. Too many people come in and try and win World's Strongest Man within a couple of years, and look, that just doesn't happen. You know, it takes years of dedication and hard work. Make sure that everything you're doing during your day is focused towards making you a better person. I'm not socialising with my friends. I'm not drinking at the weekend. I'm not skipping meals. If I have to go out somewhere, I have to plan ahead to make sure I'm taking food with me and know when I'm going to be able to train and do all these things. My whole life revolves around strongman. Absolutely everything I do.
Did you write that, Adam?
Which one is it?
Ruthless, aggressive, dominant.
Yeah, the mantra.
Is it?
Reminder, yeah. Like, off the back of like 2018, I started working with a sports psychologist, and we needed to come up with like the athlete I wanted to be at competition. Almost like producing like an alter ego for me, because normally I'm not a nice person, which is annoying. So we basically came up with this kind of like RAD, which goes real back to the 90s, skateboarding, which stands for kind of ruthless, aggressive, dominant, and it's just a set of traits that I wanted to have when I'm competing all the time, you know. So I'm always going for that win. I'm always trying to put my all on every single event. I'm not holding back anything. So yeah, it's just a little reminder, and I write on stuff like my water bottle and stuff, you know, from time to time. I'll write it down in my different books. I write it on the whiteboard up there just to remind myself every time I'm training. That's the kind of set of values that I'm working towards. I've coached myself, I've programmed myself, and you know, I'll plan out my training for World's Strongest Man as soon as World's Strongest Man the previous year is done. So my training cycle started as soon as World's Strongest Man finishes. I literally sit there in my hotel room and plan out my training. You know, I know exactly what I need to be doing and what weights I need to be hitting before those competitions. And yes, there's some guesswork. I don't know when competition dates are. But once they get sorted, then I stick to plan. And I think that's one of the most important things with strength training, is sticking to a plan and not deviating from that plan, because you've only got a limited amount of time you can train. You've only got a limited amount of big lifts in you in your lifetime. So make sure you're doing it at the right time is hugely important. It's fine being great for one day. Well, you've got 365 days in a year. If you are great in all those days, you're going to improve massively. You know, everyone needs to look at it as 365 chances to improve every single year, you know, and make sure they're small. It could be a tiny little 1% increase, you know, 1% improvement. But if you do that all the time, then it's a huge amount of improvement. if you're not dedicated, you won't achieve anything. So I think that's dedication is not. It's not something that you can choose to or not to. If you want to achieve your goals, you have to be dedicated. It's like a non-negotiable.
World's strongest man.
The ultimate goal. There's a lot of guys competing every year. 25 to 30 guys compete for that title, and it's the ultimate goal. It's what we're all fighting for, trying to climb over each other to achieve. And it's all friendly backstage, but ultimately we want to win that title. I give up stuff because my want and desire to achieve my goal of winning World's Strongest Man is bigger than my want to do the things that I'm sacrificing. So for me, it's a very easy choice. It's me versus myself, Yeah, I want to be World's Strongest Man, which means I need to beat a load of other people, but I can't control what Alexei Novikov's doing in his training. I can't control what Brian Shaw's doing in his training. But what I have full control of is what I'm doing. So I just look at it as me versus myself. I've got to be better than the version of Adam Bishop 24 hours ago, and that's all you're doing. It's just that step forward every single time, because that's the only thing I can control. There's no point getting stressed about things you can't control. And you have to take a step back and go, okay, am I really going to achieve my goals if I'm actually not applying myself fully to it? So that I had to do, I was working full time in a great job that I loved, but suddenly I'd hate to be looking back on my career in 10 years' time and realising that I didn't fully commit to strongman because I was, enjoyed working at another profession. I'd hate for that to be the reason, and that I was too scared to take the plunge and go full time with it. And it's something I had to do, even though it was a great job, one of the ones I really enjoyed. I had to kind of pull the plug on it to really kind of feed my passion and obsession with World's Strongest Man.
What would you do if you sacrificed everything and you came so close to winning Worlds but you didn't? Like, what would, at the end of your career, not touching that Worlds trophy?
There's no regrets. I've got no problem if I never win World's Strongest Man because I'm beaten by better people. On the day they have better events. I've got no problem with that. What I couldn't live with if I knew that I'd never reach my full potential. I was never as strong as I could be because I didn't apply myself fully by not going full time. You get beaten by a stronger guy on the day. That happens. It's very normal. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you know that you haven't given every little ounce into the thing you're trying to work towards, then that's another story, and I don't think I'll be happy with that. But yeah, if it doesn't happen, if I don't win that World's Strongest Man within the next 10 years, but I gave everything, I'd say, hey, look, I gave everything, I just wasn't there.
Mitch writes his own stuff. He knows what he's doing. By the time we get to competition, he's ready, like he was for Brits last year. He did it absolutely to the T. We couldn't have done it any better.
World's Strongest Man, the title is like, the gold medal at the Olympics for the 100 metres. It's like lifting the World Cup in football. It's like lifting the Super Bowl in American football. It's the pinnacle of our sport, and to be able to call yourself the undisputed World's Strongest Man is everything for strength athletes. I want to win every time I compete. It's not about settling for kind of second best.